Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this free recap video we're going to cover crude oil because we've actually had a really great set of trades on crude over the last few months, mostly with the API to EIA setup. And what that is a volatility play using the release of the private API inventory data, waiting for that volatility to hit, and then playing the EIA data that happens the following day to take advantage of projected lows and buy. And we've done that for weeks and weeks. And then the market basically kind of got overstretched. And this was the Hurricane Gordon setup. And this had a lot to do with the market overreacting to the effect the hurricane would have on the rigs, on supply, just in general on crude. And this is something that, being in Florida, I'm sympathetic to those folks that are in the Gulf. You know, even a Category 1 with a decent storm surge can definitely wreak some havoc. But from the trading standpoint, I've even played trades when hurricanes are bearing down on me and my family on the east coast of Florida. And, you know, some of what I know about the rhythms, you know, we saw play out perfectly as the market not only overstretched into what was a price-based overbought area, what was a technically based overbought area, and then ultimately what was an overreaction based upon the price movement ranges. So it basically met all three criteria for the kind of short that we like to see. The question is, now what? Now what with crude? And there's some interesting levels that we're sitting at right now. Namely, what's going on at what I call the midpoint, the mid-range. More familiar, some people might call this the 50% retracement. Some people might call this the halfback. So I like all those names. I think they're fun, especially since it's football season. But what we want to do is take advantage of the fact that there is an interesting psychology in the middle of a choppy range, which is where we are right now. And I do think there's an opportunity to possibly set up another buy here. But what I want to do is think about how we are basically doing two things. We have corrected into the 50% retracement of the halfback. And now we're basically kind of compressing or consolidating inside the wave. And that combination of sort of correction to compression or correction to consolidation, whichever one you want to call it, does set up really interesting opportunities to take advantage of what I think will be, you know, for contracting, where's the expansion? Where's that acceleration? And how is that going to play out next? I'm still very bullish on crude oil, but the unique opportunity here is in how we would possibly play crude oil options in this consolidation. Now you can also get long. Well, you know, that's another thing we can do. But getting long would mean I'm waiting for the EIA numbers and what we call a catch the wick on Wednesday. And I cannot make that catch the wick call so far out because catch the wick is going to be about projecting the low, projecting what's known as the exhaustion low that we would ultimately buy. But that would be more about setting up on a Wednesday. But keep that in mind. That's something else we can do. And I'll talk about it in likely the recap video, certainly in the chat room Tuesday night and into Wednesday. But how do we play this in the meanwhile? I think it's really important to be patient and use the right asset class while the market is indeed compressing. Now, for those of you that are wondering, how do I measure this? What are these tools that I use and kind of what's the approach? I just want to mention that you can check out the replay of the webinar that I did last Thursday, where a lot of what I'm explaining right now, I went into detail. And then also on this page, which is great, you've got not just the replay, but you can check out the indicators and use the tools that I use. You can sign up for them before we start the class on Saturday. So you can kind of get a feel for how they work and just kind of set them up on your chart and start to prepare for the class on Saturday, or just start to get used to the tools that I use and have used day in and day out for quite some time. But I think this replay is going to be very, very helpful. So check that out. It's over at the simplertrading.co. Make sure you type in .co/exits-replay. I'll see you in the next update.